Hello, Danny.
Hello,
How are you doing today?
doing good.
All right. Let's get straight into the intro. Hopefully, I can pull you up. There we go. Jesus. It has been. This week has been so stressful. Um, between the fact that I had to work a 3 day weekend at festival, uh, and then had to do all of my laundry on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, was super rough. And my brain is just. It is absolutely fried, Danny.
Now that's understandable.
Oh, but we're gonna do this anyways. By the way, how did your guys' Crota run go?
We made it to Crota on contest.
I'm gonna assume because you said you made it to Crota that you did not finish Crota.
Not within contest, but as soon as contest ended, I think we beat Crota like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Nice. The quest to get the gun is now over, right?
It's yeah, it pops up when you beat the raid.
Okay, so you can still get it, but you have to go and actually beat the raid.
Yep, literally all you have to do is just kill Crota.
Okay,
Literally just get it from killing.
perfect. That's perfect. Awesome. So that is good to know. Because my dumbass was not able to because I was really busy Friday night working on shit. So yeah. Um. So all right. Well, before we delay this any longer, let's go ahead and get into the TWAB, shall we?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Also, real quick, talking about Crota, because this is something that I do want to pull up. Um, uh, Congratulations to Team Elysium for winning World's First. That is now officially 4 belts in Salta Greppo's hands. That is dangerous.
It's a lot.
Yeah, 4 belts in the past 5 raids. That's kind of
Basically,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah, because they did not get Root of Nightmares.
Nope.
No, they did not get Root of Nightmares, but they got, yeah. So 4 belts and 5 raids is still really solid.
The other statistic from this is Reprise Crota's End is up there with one of the most difficult contest modes that they've had in a long time.
Which is really interesting. I have heard though that the raid felt much better than in D1.
Oh no, the raid is infinitely better than it was in D1. It is actually a raid.
Yeah, like the from what I saw on Twitter, at least just from like all of the people going through the raid, between like Fallout plays, MP edits, Datto, the typical content creators. Because I want to actually talk about this since there's not too much in the TWAB that we actually have to cover. It is kind of interesting that they actually made, from what I saw, Crota not only fun, but actually made it good. Actually made the raid good when it was infamously known as like one of the worst raids to ever do.
Yeah, like even the hard mode of Crota's End in D1 is a pushover. It's not difficult at all.
When it's a lot of tedious shit. But to be fair,
It's
it was also one of the first raids that they did, right?
it is the second raid they did.
Yeah, so they were still experimenting. Because what was raid one?
Vault of Glass.
Vault of Glass. Yeah. It was Vogue.
The
That's OG, and then Crota, and Vogue wasn't too bad, but Crota was ugh.
right before Luke Smith actually stepped down as the creative director for Destiny 2, he revealed that Crota's End and Kingsfall were actually originally supposed to be part of the same raid.
Really.
It was going to be like a back to back concept. but
Ugh, that sounds
the team
miserable.
Crota's End was like the beginning part of it, and then King's Fall was the second half of the raid.
Well, cause Crota is basically just Oryx's bitch, isn't he?
Oryx's son.
Yeah. So it's like you kill son, then you go kill father, right?
Yep.
But God, I could not imagine that, especially because the way that a lot of raids are designed, they have very specific mechanics throughout the entirety of the raid. So not only would you have to do like Crota style of mechanics, then you would have to go into King's Fall with a completely different set of mechanics. Like, that actually legitimately sounds insane if they tried to do that. Like, oh my god, I'm so glad they did not do that. Fuck.
Yeah. The team decided that that was too many encounters for a raid,
Yeah, I mean,
so they got separated.
actually, what is the most encounters for a raid? That, I think, belongs to Riven, right?
It's kind of even now between Last Wish and Crota's End.
Is Crota really that long with the amount of counters?
Yeah, they have added more to it.
That's fair. Cause I know that Riven was the longest encounters. Cause it's got like what, like 8 encounters?
Let's see.
Because I'm just going based off of, excuse me, the Hawthorne quest, the Hawthorne raid quest for the craftable weapons.
There's
Because
5.
it's 5.
Yep.
Oh, I thought there was a lot more than that. Maybe I'm just tripping.
It's just there's some jumping between a couple of the encounters, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Riven is also just fucking long. Riven is just a long fucking raid. Well, actually, what is the name of that raid again?
Last Wish.
Last Wish. I keep calling it Riven because I only know the boss's name because I've never fucking done it. That raid is, from what I was told, is like, unless you do the skip, it is so goddamn long. If you do it the legitimate way.
What was our last run on that? It's been a few weeks. The last run that I did on Last Wish was an hour and 8 minutes.
Jesus. Alright.
Fastest is 42.
Good God. Couldn't imagine trying to just speedrun that shit.
It's not too bad.
Alright. Well, enough with Crota, because we're gonna get into that a little bit, I guess, later on in here. Topics for this week for the TWAB. Final call for the Guardians for Maui fundraiser. Update on the PvP strike team. The tessellation clips are showing us tessellation clips. New ritual armor sets. World first race winner interview. And player support report and movie of the week and artists of the week. So, posted today. There's 4 days left for the Maui support for Maui, so make sure to go donate if you want to have the chance at getting a really cool, or if you want to get a really cool emblem and shirt. Again, it's Bungie Foundation doing Bungie Foundation stuff, so I'm always down to support it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, nothing crazy. It's just standard Bungie Foundation. Now, PvP Strike Team. This is something that is going to be interesting. Basically, they're kind of talking about how they're going to be improving. You know what? I'm going to let you take this one, Danny, because there's a lot of, like, word vomit here, and I don't really know how to, like, fully break it down.
Yeah, basically, Joe Blackburn's video announcement thing. He went over this lightly. This is just going into it a little bit more. They have created a team specifically for making content for PvP, specifically gathering stuff for map pack and updated game modes. And what they want to do is they want to take the existing playlists as well and give them like a freshen up and make them more clear as to what's in which playlist, which is pretty nice. They've also been looking at game modes that are in certain playlists and thinking, do they belong in this playlist or not? Which is what they're doing for Rift particularly, because it is currently in a more competitive playlist, and I think they're assessing whether or not to remove it from that playlist.
Honestly, I kind of want them to remove it because Rift is just an absolute clusterfuck.
It's not good for the competitive mode.
No, it's just because the problem is that you never get an even match. It is always, always, always a fucking steamroll.
Yep.
Either you steamroll the enemy team, or they absolutely steamroll you, and you basically just camp their spawn. Like,
exactly.
it's miserable. It's honestly, you know what Rift reminds me of, Danny? It reminds me of CTF from Halo. It reminds me so much of Capture the Flag from Halo, because if you knew where all the spawns were, you could just absolutely run match after match after match with a full team.
Yeah, it's kind of like the weird hybrid of CTF and Griffball.
Yeah, and it's just, and that's the biggest issue that I think I have with it, is just as fun of a game mode as it is, because there are fun moments in Rift. It's just I don't think it belongs in the competitive playlist. Like, it's just
it's more of a fun mode.
Yeah, it's more of a fun mode, and especially because, again, as for those of you that are watching are aware, PvP is not our forte.
No.
Because it is fucking miserable right now. Because it is only, like, hard meta guns, and everybody's a fucking sweat. And I'm like, I don't have the time or patience to deal with that right now.
The only thing that I'm happy about is the new map, in particular in PvP, has a particular bug that Bungie has found.
I saw that.
They're like, you know what? We're just gonna leave it for a while. Y'all are having fun with it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can use your Sparrow.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm glad that Bungie... Because Bungie actually made an official comment on that, didn't they?
Yep, they're like, there is a bug. We've been alerted, and we found that there is a bug on this map, but you all really like it, so we're just gonna let it be for now.
And honestly,
and the community,
I'm fucking here for it.
Yeah. Community collectively is like, let it run through Iron Banner. Let's go.
Yeah, it's great. Like, again, as Danny said, for those of you that haven't been paying attention to Twitter or YouTube, what is the name of the map again? Multiplex?
Multiplex, yeah.
Multiplex. You can, as Danny said, you can summon your Sparrow. And I saw a clip earlier of people in a custom game, and they're all in the water tube Sparrows, and they're just playing bumper cars. Just not trying to knock people off the map. And it is absolutely fucking awesome.
I was playing on the map earlier with the new vendor hand cannon. And I got a kill with someone who was on their Sparrow because I blew their Sparrow up.
It really just... It's a fucking clusterfuck. And I'm just glad that Bungie's like, you know what? Fuck it. Have fun, kids.
Yeah.
They're like, just make sure to be home by the time the streetlights come on.
They did have another bug that they had to disable the exotic in PvP for. Pyro Gale gauntlets for the Titans were doing the auto cap point thing again.
Yeah, go figure.
So those got disabled in PvP.
Thank God.
Which is really funny.
Yeah. No, Multiplex is a good time. Go play Multiplex. It's... Now, if only fucking Bungie would make goddamn map voting. Fuck! Give me map voting, Bungie. Holy shit. Every other multiplayer PvP has map voting. Please, for the love of God. I do not want to fucking play...
Yeah.
What is that? Warsack Control? What is that one called? With the giant orb in the fucking middle. What is that fucking map?
Oh, Anomaly?
Yes, Anomaly, and the one where you're on the mountain
Oh, Vostok.
Vostok, yeah. If I never saw those maps see the light of day, I'd be fine. I would be okay with that. If I could just veto those maps every fucking time they showed up, I would be big chillin'. Because Anomaly is just annoying as shit because there's so many, like, areas to get through and you're just constantly getting flanked and nobody fucking likes Vostok. It's just snipers. It's just
Vostok
fucking...
is just not a good map.
It's not a good fucking map. It is miserable as hell. It is just a bad... it's just a bad map. It is a bad map. So, alright, we're going to be moving on. A new ritual armor set. A couple weeks ago, we mentioned that we would be adding a new ritual armor set in Destiny 2 this season. Today's the day that the following armor sets can be earned as new ritual rewards. Introducing Hinterland for the Hunter, Biosphere Explorer for the Titan, and Ossuary for the Warlock. And you know what? I dig the Warlock helmet here.
These armor sets are kind of good. I got a pair of the boots to drop earlier playing Iron Banner, and you know, I'm kind of glad that this is stuff you can get by playing the playlist activities. It's a reason to do them, at least till you get the set.
Yeah, they look sick, and I'm curious to see how all of the shaders look on them. You can earn these armor sets through playing Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit. You will still not catch me fucking playing Gambit unless I am playing with Danny. Like, kiss my ass. Following that, show us those tessellation clips. Basically, for those of you that have already pre-ordered the final shape and the annual pass edition, and you got the tessellation, Bungie is asking you to send them clips of all of your different stuff with tessellation. So, yeah. Go make some memes. Turn it into the new Telesto.
It's a pretty good gun.
I have heard good things. I have not gotten it yet because I have not pre-ordered the final shape. I should probably do that at some point.
That's going to be much later in the year for me.
Yeah. Next up, the winner for Crota's End is going to be Clan Elysium. Once again, that is Salta Greppo's clan. So, congratulations to them. And I'm going to kind of skip over the interview and let's talk about something because I stated in a previous TWAB that this raid was going to really determine how good Clan Elysium was.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by that statement. I have no ill will towards Salta Greppo other than the fact that he got both Divinity and fucking Well of Radiance nerfed. But that is a separate issue altogether. When I made that statement, it was strictly about his group's ability to run the raids. And again, a lot of people had a lot of problems with Clan Elysium. Number one, the first raid that they won was... What was... It was the one... I thought it was the one on... No, it was the one before Throne World.
I'm trying to remember the order of the raid releases.
Well, then, you know what? Let's go backwards then. So, they won Crota's End. They did not win Root of Nightmares. What was the one before Root of Nightmares?
King's Fall.
They did King's Fall. Then they did Vow of the Disciple. And then they did... that was reprised Vogue. Yeah. So, a lot of people have kind of, especially, you know, again, we've said on this podcast before, more me so than Danny, that especially with the first two, like, the first raid it's a reprised raid, it's Vogue, nothing new. So everybody already had the information for the most part, other than, like, a couple key changes, such as, like, the second area, you couldn't shoot them in any order, you had to shoot them in order of the glowing squares. So they crushed Vogue, and then Vow of the Disciple, and this is where I think a lot of people had a problem, because number one, that raid was ultra fucking buggy, like omega fucking buggy.
Val was the one that got a lot of people heated to the point where people on the other teams were having to literally put out PSAs to their community to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It got way too heated.
Yeah, because people were getting skipped through checkpoints. That's exactly how Salta Greppo's team did it. Because they got put through a checkpoint that technically they shouldn't have gotten put through for some odd reason. Again, it was one of those weird. Just again, that was a very buggy raid, and it was.
Yep.
And that world first was absolutely fucking miserable, and that's one of the reasons why World's First is now held on Fridays instead of Saturdays now, so that Bungie can actively look at the raid during the normal work hours.
Yep.
So that way they didn't have to put people on overtime for it.
Yeah. It is so that they have people there on damage control for the servers, and it's also why they've been doing extensive work to make sure that background maintenance and stuff can go on without the servers exploding.
Yeah. So Valve
Because they don't want to repeat it.
Exactly. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, Clan Elysium didn't really win it, right?" Stuff like that. And I'm like, "Look, they got first. It is what it is." But like I've said, that was a miserable fucking opening raid day. That was probably actually that might have been the buckiest World's First we've ever seen, isn't it?
Vow of the Disciple was one of the probably worst raid launches.
It's definitely up there. It's easily top 3.
Because, like, the raid itself is great. Like, the raid's fine. The servers were just so awful during that race because it was kicking people. People were getting glitched through doors. Stuff wasn't spawning properly. Things were teleporting. It was not good.
Yeah. And then the raid after that was reprised Kingsfall. And this is where I think a lot of people had this weird like clicking in their minds that Clan Elysium wasn't a good clan in terms of raiders was because it was another reprised raid that Clan Elysium just absolutely just fucking dominated for the majority of the way through. And then a lot of people doubted them through Root of Nightmares because they did not win Root of Nightmares. Can you tell me actually again who won Root of Nightmares?
It was a team by the name Hard in the Paint. They were relatively new, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they had placed before, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but Elysium, long story short, they've been doing the day one raids for a very long time.
Yeah. And then reprised Crota's End.
Which, the difference between contest mode for Root of Nightmares and contest mode reprised Crota's is night and day.
Yes. Now, I have said, and I've said this a little, and I said this a little earlier. So I respect Clan Elysium for being world's first on Crota's End. 100%. Again, they managed to get 4 world's belts. There is something to be said, though, that 3 of those 4 belts are from reprised raids. And the one that wasn't a reprised raid was the buggiest mess of all. So,
Yep.
on one hand, you have a team that has 4 raid belts under their name, but 3 of them already had mechanics that we already knew about, and one of them was one of the worst raid starts we've ever had. So, on one hand, I want to respect the 4 belts. On the other hand, though, they didn't win Root of Nightmares. And Root of Nightmares is, for a lack of better terms, a really fucking easy raid.
Yep. Aside from the planet encounter that stonewalled a lot of teams.
Which, by the way, people are soloing.
Yeah, no. After contest mode went away, most of that raid became a cakewalk.
Yeah, so it's I'm in a really tough spot, and I kind of want I really need your opinion on it, Danny. Just unfiltered, because again, it's a podcast. We need to talk about things like this for this reason, right?
Like, I think that they are good. I think they are a coordinated team, and they are capable. The only thing is, like, they are always going to live in the shadow of how buggy Val's launch was.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that the other 3 raid belts are all raids that have already been a thing that they could have just studied, that they could study runs of.
I will say though, with the changes to Crota's End, I think that was more earned. Because, let me just put it this way. The bridge encounter, for instance. You've probably seen how easy that is in D1.
Mm-hmm.
During contest mode, those plates that you have to stand on to form the bridge, every, couple minutes, it spawned barrier knights. There were probably 40 barrier knights during that encounter.
Yeah.
That raid on contest was hell.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who did go through it, like, you can definitely speak on that.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest raid content I think I've ever done, and I've done 3 master raids now and have the Riven's Bane title.
Yeah. So I think, and again, I want to see Clan Elysium put the haters to rest, but it's hard for me to see that when there have been a lot of negatives to their achievements, such as 3 reprised raids as part of their belts, and then Val being Val. So I want to see what they do with Final Shape. I think Final Shape's raid is going to be the make or break for how people see Clan Elysium.
And the way that they've been talking about their plans for the Final Shape raid, it is going to be probably the most difficult raid they've cooked up.
Which makes sense, since it is the end of the Light and Dark saga.
And they said the Witness is the boss and is capable of 1v1ing anyone.
Yeah, so I'm very interested into seeing that. So at this point, I do want to make this statement again. I try my best to be as neutral as it comes to the raids as a whole. So with that being said, Clan Elysium, if you guys do end up watching this video, Final Shape is going to be a big, big, big step. Because if they don't win Final Shape's World's First, now mind you, this is, again, if Final Shape is not buggy as hell, which I'm praying it's not, because Bungie is spending a lot of fucking time on it. As long as it is not buggy as hell, and they win the Final Shape raid, I think they can fully silence all of the haters and the doubters as being one of the best raid clans out there. If not the best. I mean, there is no other raid clan that has 4 belts under their title, or 4 titles under their belt, correct?
I don't think for D2, no.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very odd, because if they don't, a lot of people are just going to put them on the back burner and just be like, well, that was it. So, I want to see them succeed so they can finally silence the haters. But I also want to see how strong they really are as a raid team.
Yeah. Like, I fully believe that they are a really good team. Like, it's clear. They're a good team. The only thing I think that follows them around a lot is how much some of the things that they say come off as gatekeeping.
I would very much agree with that statement.
Because that's one of the things that's actually prevented a lot of people from trying out Destiny in the past.
Yeah, 1,000%. And it's because as far as I know of, I don't know any of the other raid members from Clan Elysium other than Saltagreppo, because I know Saltagreppo has very elitist views. I mean, he's one of the reasons why Divinity and Well of Radiance got nerfed.
There is a small number of people that complain that certain parts of the game make it too easy.
Right. I mean, I would argue that he was probably the most vocal out of them, because I do remember seeing several people saying that. But he was definitely the most vocal and definitely the person who got the most attention to it.
Because, like, as beneficial as unnerfed Divinity was, because 30% debuff and a massive crit spot, I don't think it was ever quite to the level of Galahorn and D1. Because Galahorn and D1 was 100% a crutch weapon.
Yeah.
It just did everything. There was nothing it did not do well.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that the Warlock community very much does not like fucking Saltagreppo. Or at least 95% of the Warlock community. 5% is like, yay, we don't have to be well bitch. And I'm like, you're still gonna be well bitch. Like you should have 2 Warlocks in your raid. Theoretically, you should have a balanced raid team is 2 of each class. 2 Hunters, 2 Titans, 2 Warlocks. So only one of them has to technically run well.
Yeah, like right now, honestly, depending on the encounter, it's either well or Needlestorm.
Yeah. So
as solid as like Void is for keeping yourself alive, the poor Nova Bomb is more of an obstruction than a help.
Yeah, it's and especially based on which one you use. If you use the tracking, it may just go into a pillar and not get the damage. Or if you use the one that sits still, if it's on a boss that moves, well, hopefully he sits still long enough.
Yep, which, unfortunately, a lot of bosses they're adding to raids move.
Yeah, so they're going to need to do a lot to fix that, because with and that's going to be part of the thing that comes in Final Shape, is when they give out the new Radiance, which is just the walking version of that's going to be a massive help. I'm just afraid that people are going to say that it's too strong and then immediately nerf it, and then Warlocks are like, well, I don't know what you want us to do anymore because we don't have any support utility that hasn't been nerfed into the ground.
That's why I was so happy to see them add that new strand aspect for Titan.
Yeah.
Because Banner of War is literally just mobile Well of Radiance.
Yeah.
It just doesn't buff anything that isn't a melee-based weapon, but it heals with every pulse. So it's basically just as good as a well for a lot of situations.
Yeah. So I really, really hope that the new Radiance that people don't see it as a crutch to get it nerfed, because I'm sorry, but having Well of Radiance get nerfed, and if new Radiance gets nerfed as well, I have a feeling that a lot of the Warlock community is going to be incredibly pissed, because as a Warlock main myself, it already hurt. It already hurt that we had several bad changes come to us. I mean, number one, you now have to choose whether or not you use a healing grenade or not, instead of just charging your solar grenade into a shield/heal. And you have to run a specific grenade for that, well, getting nerfed. So it's just like, Warlocks just don't have utility other than ad clear, which kinda hurts when Warlocks have been known for the longest time to be the utility class. So it's like,
We're reaching one of these interesting balance points, because Titans have been getting more and more versatile with every change, aside from their supers. Titan supers they really do not lend themselves to PvE very well. But PvP, though...
Yeah, PvP they're a nightmare.
Strong.
Yeah, because let's think. Like, what Titan supers are great in PvE? Especially specifically for raids, because technically you can run any super in like a strike.
Currently,
Bubble,
Thunder Crash.
Bubble, and Thunder Crash.
I wouldn't even say Bubble now.
Really, you don't even think that Bubble's a necessity anymore?
No. Radiance is just as strong of a damage buff.
But don't they technically stack?
Nope. It it always prioritizes the highest buff. So if anyone's running like Lumina or Boots of the Assembler, yeah, that's overriding your damage buff.
Gotcha. So yeah. So it's just one of those things, and it's something that I'm going to be very, very, very attentive to, because after Final Shape, if they just continue nerfing all of Warlock utility, I feel like I just don't want to play anymore. Because I enjoy Warlock and I don't want to play the other classes. Like, it's just that simple. Like, I get it. A lot of people have 3 characters. They have a Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. I get it. I don't enjoy those classes. I don't want to play them. And just seeing the Warlocks we get like 2 weeks of PvP dominance and then nerfed into the abyss, and then all of our support utility in PvE content just gets absolutely nerfed into the abyss. It kind of hurts my soul, you know?
I have actually been playing my Warlock a little bit more with the strand changes, because, Weave Walk is fun.
Yeah, Weave Walk is fun. Weave Walk finally gave Warlock Strand. Well, I mean, other than Needle Storm, I feel like most of Warlock Strand is really not that great, if I'm being completely honest, at least how I feel.
Real good for damage after the Threadling changed.
Well, yeah. I mean, Threadling's just got absolutely fucking giga buffed into oblivion after the first couple weeks of just Lightfall being out in general, because people were like, this shit does 0 damage.
And then they realized, Swarmers.
Yeah. So, we will see. We will see how all that goes later on. And again, I am going to be skipping the interview because I don't really have the time or the patience to go through all of that. With that being said, we're on to the player support report. Spoils of Conquest Triumph. We are currently investigating an issue with the Spoils of Conquest Triumph for Crota's End that prevents it from being completed. This issue will be resolved in an upcoming update. Ritual Violence Seasonal Challenge. The description for the Week 3 Seasonal Challenge, Ritual Violence, is incorrect. Players can complete this challenge by rapidly defeating targets in ritual playlists. Special Deliveries Kiosk. Beginning with the launch of Season of the Witch, items such as pre-order rewards and secret stash bundles have been moved off the Cryptarch and to the new Special Deliveries Kiosk in the tower. Players missing items should double-check this vendor for available rewards. New light players will continue to be able to access these rewards from Shawhan and the Cosmodrome until they finish. Known issues.
There's a lot.
While we continue investigating various known issues, here's a list of the latest issues that were reported to us in our #help forum. We are investigating reports of some players not receiving a Crota's End contest mode emblem within the expected time frame and completion conditions. This season, the Deep Sonar Station vendor no longer offers bounties, preventing completion of the weekly Aquatic Operations Challenge. We saw that one last week. Players in loadout-locked activities can get kicked to orbit when attempting to swap out mods or cosmetics and items. That's new from last week, right?
Yep, that's a new one.
Yeah. Due to an issue, the Eidolon Ally Auto Rifle can no longer be pulled from collections. That's interesting.
It was infinite materials when you dismantled them.
Oh, Jesus. Some weapons from Crota's End do not always have firing audio. That's pretty bad. Some players haven't been able to progress through the new light tower hangar and unlock the full tower. That's pretty bad. The Round and Round We Go seasonal challenge is not currently counting orbs generated in Gambit. That's really bad. Some players are unable to finish the Last Will and Testament mission. That's not good. Attempting to activate elemental runes with shotguns or fusion rifles can sometimes destroy the rune, temporarily blocking progress.
That one's pretty rough.
Oh, that's fucking miserable. Oh, that's bad. The monochromatic Maestro of Artifact perk does not activate with Strand. That's pretty bad. The dungeon completion tracker on emblems does not function, and the description for the legend version of the Savathûn Spire activity incorrectly displays that matchmaking is available. For the full list, go to the hashtag help forum for more. There's a lot of really bad ones in there. Like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of really bad ones in there.
This season has had
got a
a
crick in my neck.
lot
Damn
of
it.
issues.
Yeah. The Way to the Pale Heart. This is a picture by the Sold Theta, the witness on its way to the Pale Heart, and just that's just a good meme.
It's pretty good.
That's just a solid meme. Marathon trailer, but it's Destiny 2 by Shalby 1. So I'm gonna assume that it's just them literally recreating just the Marathon trailer.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Crota and the Gatekeeper by Kuri Kusuri.
Yeah, literally the minute contest went away, people found out you could literally just tractor cannon or freeze the gatekeepers and bridge encounter and push them off the cliff.
And it worked.
Yep.
That's fucking good.
It's really funny.
Please tell me that's still available to do.
Oh yeah, no, it still works.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's muy bueno. Because fuck the Hive. And then we've got Kathy Langley, They Coming to Play With Me, and it's... That's Crota.
That's Crota.
It's actually, low-key, that's kind of adorable, actually. As much of a dick as Crota is, that's kind of adorable. Crota just being like a 5-year-old son being like, come on, let's play catch!
Also, I just want to say I'm really happy that Bungie decided, you know what Crota's gonna take the most damage to? Swords. Swords are the best DPS options on Crota, and it is wonderful.
I think that's kind of funny, to be perfectly honest, seeing as he's fucking Hive, and the Hive swords have been notorious for dumb shit happening. So that's good.
It's a good change.
Yeah. And that is it for the TWAB. Yeah, really just kind of going over worlds first. Nothing crazy. I'm interested to see how they kind of experiment with the PvP strike playlist and kind of how they work with the labs to see how everything goes.
There is one change they have already made to PvP.
Okay.
Trials match wins now have a high chance to drop a non-adept Trials weapon.
I did see that while we were scrolling through. I think that is a pretty solid change.
Yeah, it's something that the community has been asking for because Trials, aside from actually getting the vendor rank ups, isn't super rewarding still.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change.
Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure we can just call it as it is on that part.
Yep.
So, with that being said, Danny, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at CatboxDanny.
You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at DominiFox or on Twitter at DominiFox1. We both thank you all for watching the video. We hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, don't be a sweat lord. We'll see you guys next time.